Hi, this is Scott. This is my 577 Smart Grid presentation. We're on part 5. This is slide 21. And what I found with regard to PKI and the smart grid is that it's there's a pretty substantial concern with PKI, and that's related to the fact that PKI in that arena, when you talk about trust, there's a certain amount of misconception within PKI, about what that may mean. And what I'm saying is that for PKI, if a system is trusted, it just means that you've authenticated that user or that system. You believe you know who they are, and that you believe that the certificates have been managed properly. It doesn't mean that you trust them to handle a nuclear reactor, and it doesn't mean that you trust them to always do the right thing. It doesn't mean that you leave your kids over at their house on a weekend. What it means is that just that you're aware of their identity, and so that's a big issue, because if you have someone at a competitor go rogue and try to shut down their competitor utility, they could or use that information inappropriately. That's a big issue. So let's go to slide 22. That there are some other challenges. Certainly, physical protection is a challenge. Passwords are a challenge. I mean, you have to be concerned about all of those things when you're guarding such an important, uh, ability to distribute electricity. Let's go to slide 23. What are some more challenges? Naming can be a challenge, and then it's also a challenge of how you're going to coordinate, or require human interaction. Are people going to have to validate some, credentials? Are they going to, is a person, before the system will, allow a remote user to shut down the reactor, or shut down a generation facility, or close a line? Does someone in a specific control room, that hierarchy again, are they going to have to uh, do human, use their finger to approve it. So that's an issue. Let's go to slide 24. So how can we get around some of these issues with PKI? And what I found in the industry, and now I'm getting into pretty current stuff. I mean, literature that was published within the last year. And what I found was that the smart grid must be built with an assumption that faults and attacks and failures will occur. And so you have to be able to build this like a, in aeronautics, because you have to have fault tolerance. Detection and protection is not enough. And so rogue actions must be resisted even when presented with proper credentials. And the system must be built with human intelligence, or with intelligence, to maintain system viability even when human system or security have failed. So, and this is based on that many of the past blackouts were the cause of a combination of two things: operator error along with a power line going down. And if one of those occurred separately, the system wouldn't have failed. So what you need to do is you need to have, it's fairly clear what steps need to be taken, and the system needs to be intelligent enough to do that on its own. So let's go to slide 25. What is some of the smarter architectures that are being suggested? And for the control arena, what they're suggesting, Overman is suggesting, is a mesh with distributed intelligence. And you can see that what we've revised now from previous discussion about the grid is that now you have these intelligent devices located, at the substation and at the field level, that are communicating with other devices, other similar devices. So now you've really got a mesh of devices that are cooperating, and you still have the hierarchy of, field to substation to control room, and all of those connections still exist. But now you've got a whole mesh of network connections between the devices that can function if something happens to your control room. So let's go to slide 26. So Overman presents a mesh with IED, and now that is not what you would think it is. It's an intelligent electrical device, which allows for a collaboration between devices at other points in the network by sharing actionable data. And the mesh design requires nodes to be responsible for not only their personal data, but for pushing data belonging to other nodes through the network. And one of the benefits of this is it can be self-healing when faced with node or connection failure, because the mesh can send data through different paths to reach other nodes, and it doesn't discourage the hierarchy that we talked about. And the IEDs use sensor data from both a control room and a remote location to independently validate that requests are appropriate. And these are many of these devices don't exist yet; they're still being developed. And what that's where these devices are going to need to have. They're the intelligence of the system that's going to basically, in many ways, replace the control room operator, where it's going to be, when you certainly won't replace all operators, but when there's a problem, the system will automatically repair itself, because the government, who's doing a lot of this funding, is saying we want a autonomous self-healing system. We want a system that can repair itself, and we want a system that can survive on its own. So slide 27 is just a diagram of some of the IEDs on the smart grid, and this is Obermann's diagram that he says is an example of what an IED can look like. If you have any questions about it, I'll try to answer it. Send me an email. I'm not going to dwell on that a little bit too much. So slide 28. This is where we start to talk about what are we going to do for the entire grid. We're not going to build a mesh of all of these different systems all over the entire grid. And it's my opinion that a mesh, the reason for that is a mesh doesn't scale well to encompass millions of nodes. And it's too difficult to transmit all of that information over. There's too much overhead. And but there still is a need for a sharing mechanism across the grid. And so this fellow Germanis and a bunch of other guys and gals wrote a paper in 2010 that talked about using a P2P or peer-to-peer overlay network. So that's going to be what I'm going to discuss now. So if you will pause, we'll go on to the next portion. Thank you.